It's the US Open day number 2, and we ask, has it all gone a bit too far?
How much pain can you watch professional golfers go through? 2 days, enough's enough. Should they change the entire course? No, they can't. What's going to happen next?
Oh yeah, baby. You guys asked for it, so these guys delivered. Welcome to day number 2 of the US Open at Oakmont, the Gurlm review. And we've just had a 7-minute tech issue, and I feel stressed. Hi, Tom.
Oh, I love it when other people have tech meltdowns and there's nothing you can do. I just sat back and relaxed. I am thrilled, Tom, as we go through day 2 here on the show, to discover that golf is ruining not just our lives for once. It's ruining professional golfers' lives because I'm on the brink of performing something of a U-turn.
Right. I'm fascinated to know what this is because part of me thinks you're about to say that you think the US Open is the best major, which is wrong as an opinion.
No, that is not what I'm going to say. No, my U-turn, the best majors at Augusta, obviously. My U-turn is this. I think it might be a bit too much, guys.
Oh, we've gone too hard. Tom feels bad. Only 3 Is it 2 golfers or 3 golfers under par? You don't think that's good enough? I
think it's just getting a bit silly. I think it's a bit, and I actually think the weather thing is an intervention from a higher power, if you choose to believe in such things. Yeah. Because it's going to mean that going into the weekend, and Paul McGinley on Sky Sports was great about this, talking about how this will be more like a test that is synonymous with the PGA Tour. What the first 2 days has been is not really a test that has anything to do with the PGA Tour and what those golfers are used to. And I agree. I have a whiff of, you're right, it's been a bit much. That first green, Tom, and a green that tilts away from you, it reminds me of the 17th at my place. It drives me nuts. And then watching players hit balls down a long hole, a fairway that's an 11 on the stimp, onto a green that's 6,000 on a stimp, into rough that is knee high because they're a foot off the green. Yeah,
John Thomas is touching the rough.
Exactly so, not for the first time. It just is like, actually, I'm not enjoying watching this. Once you've seen it a few times, you start to go.
Yeah, it's hard to watch them struggle so much. There's only so many times you can see a really bad shot, I guess, and we're seeing it again and again and again. Can I say something about Oakmont very quickly?
Yeah, you're going to say you don't like the motorway?
I don't love the motorway. Also, I don't know if I love it as a course. I'm just, I don't think it's very beautiful to look at. Like, in the way that when you look at, like, a Linksy course over here, I don't know, it looks rugged and part of the landscape and forged by nature and all this sort of stuff. Whereas what I look at there is at times it just looks like a big football pitch. It's just too expansive. It's just not doing it to me. And I don't know, I also found this quite weird watching it last night as well. It felt like a lot of the stands were empty. There wasn't many people around.
Well, yeah, some of that is the weather. A lot of people have been told to stay away because they had weather coming in and they're very nervous about thunder and lightning and, their patrons getting hit by lightning, which is reasonable. But also some of that is, you'd get the same watching the Open in the UK, the Open as it is, if you watch that at 6:30 in the morning, because they tee off on Thursday, Friday, they tee off at 7:30 in the morning their time, and it is not full yet, and you'd get the same with the Open. It takes time for people to arrive.
I thought maybe as well something to do with the fact that the golfers that are doing quite well are maybe not the golfers that are going to get a fan base following them around. So you're not seeing an awful lot on TV of, like, Rory, for example. When I was watching yesterday, I didn't see much of him at all. But he might have a massive crowd, but because he was something like 8 over or something mad, they were just not showing an awful lot of him.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's not doing. Of course, it just isn't doing it for me. I'm just not besotted with it.
I come back to my theory, which did actually one of the few things I've said on TikTok that people have actually agreed with.
What?
And this is pointed mainly at the USPGA, but I'm sort of almost pointing this at the US Open as well. America, you need to up your in between. The best majors are obviously Augusta and the Open, and I can't decide which I prefer out of the two of them. But this PGA and then the US Open, you need to up your game. You need to give us more. We need to be seeing more personality and better courses. Otherwise, I think the rest of the world need to have a go. It's just not fair. We're watching this stuff, and I'm just thinking, it's not a great spectacle. It doesn't look that good. And the thing about golf, right? When you play with someone, even if you're playing against someone, broadly, there's a go on, get in the hole. Do you know what I mean? I love that about golf.
Yeah.
I've always want you're. It's all of you. Even when you're playing an opponent, you're always playing golf. You're always playing against golf. Do you know what I mean? You're versus the game. You're all suffering.
The greatest opponent is the course.
That's right. So watching someone do well against the course is satisfying, and watching someone do badly is on TV is briefly entertaining, and then very quickly becomes, oh, for God's sake. And I've gone through that. Exactly. I've gone through that journey very quickly. I've gone from going, oh, look at Bryson, he's just hit 3 out of the rough, to thinking, okay, this is. I want to see some birdies now. I want to celebrate people defying the odds of the fact that golf is impossible.
Yeah, it has been a hard watch at times. The guys I feel bad for are the blokes on 17, 18, maybe one of them's on 16, because play has been suspended. What I don't understand with this is play has been suspended, yet they have still done the cut. Every now and again, golf will throw up a moment like this, and when people talk to me about it, I'm like, yeah, I don't understand. Don't understand.
It's just
maths.
How it's
happened.
Just to do it. No, it's maths. It's because enough of the field have got to a position. The average isn't going to change. There's only 4 players left out there, and even if all 4 of those guys shot ones for their last few holes, they wouldn't change the average, and therefore the cut. Those 4 or 5 players don't have an impact on the cut mathematically.
No, but there's a guy. There's like, look at like this Lawrence bloke, right?
Yeah,
he's on 17, so he'll have said the cut is whatever. He could triple bogey everything now and not make the cut.
Yeah.
But maybe that wouldn't affect the cut line. Maybe
wouldn't affect the cut. No, it wouldn't affect the cut line. Even if he equally, even if he got ones all the way in, it wouldn't affect the cut line. Him going down and shooting badly wouldn't affect the cut line. Him doing his last 2 shots to finish the round wouldn't affect the cut line. So, but it is very funny, the fact that there are people, they're all on sort of 16, 17, 18. Let's spare a thought, guys, and this might have changed by the time you're listening or watching this, Brady Culkins, who is on 25 over par. He's currently on the 17th. I think it's fair to say
13 over for his day.
He may well have missed the cut. And he's still got to go out there on the weekend in front of all the people who are there to watch the weekend golf and just sort of go through the motions of finishing up, and then instantly it's like you've been invited to a party, you arrive in your finery ready to go, and someone says, great, have that one canapé and now get lost. Like, it's embarrassing.
See you later. You've missed your private jet because you booked your private jet for Friday because you knew you weren't going to make the weekend. Now, technically, you have made the weekend in the worst way possible. So then off you go home. There are a few players that are still going to have to go out there. There's someone 19 over is not finished. Johnson 17 over.
George Dwangmany, an American player, is, and I'm not laughing at this score at all because this is actually an illustration of what a ridiculous course it is. 35 over par for 2 rounds. He shot an 86 and an 89. Now, again, Tom, I return to the question we asked several times in the last few episodes of this show. What would we score at Oakmont? And when you think George Dwangmany, who is playing in the Open, is George Dwangmany the dentist guy?
And I mean, how many times have we mentioned George Bungany on this show? Jungany or Bungany?
Yeah, we're never gonna.
I don't think he is the dentist guy. No.
Okay.
The fact that I shot another 90 at my home course yesterday leads me to believe that I'm going to do a 140 around this place.
Yeah.
140 with a guaranteed mental breakdown, though. I will consider quitting golf in the middle.
I mean, yeah. He qualified. He qualified for it and stuff, and I mean, he's done amazingly to get there. And I genuinely feel sorry for him. It's just horrible.
So many amazing golfers aren't going to make the weekend as well. Shane Lowry at 17 over.
Shane Lowry, and also Shane Lowry has one of the best short games. The thing I love about Shane Lowry, which I try and do, is he's just got his 54-degree wedge, and he uses it for pretty much everything around the green. He's not one of these, I'll do a 50 chip and run. I'll try and do a 60 up and over. He just has his 54, and his short game and his putting is like top draw. And
Mickelson, not there.
Has he missed the cut, Mickelson?
I think so, yeah, because he's 8 over. I think the cut line's 4 as it stands at the moment. I think.
Right.
So Mickelson won't be there. Ludwig won't be there.
Has Ludwig missed it?
Yeah.
You sure?
Patrick Reed. Yeah. I know for a fact Mickelson and Ludwig aren't going to be there. Yeah.
Hang on. But that's not right. If the cut's 4 over, that's not right. If the cut's 4 over, there's only 23 players left in the tournament for the weekend.
Okay, but hold on. I know. Oh, this is why we shouldn't do podcasts very early in the morning, guys. Tomlin's going to entertain you while I do some Googling.
Okay, so the people who are on 4 Over include Rasmus Højgaard, who I love. We talked about him a couple of days ago as well. Bob Mack. I think Bob Mack is still one to watch. He shot 70 on the first day. He shot 74, hence why he's 4 over, because par is 70. Him being there on the weekend and being in decent shape is really interesting to me. I think he could do well. Mainly because of this links thing, this idea that this course is an American response to watching Scottish links, so it's a kind of Americanized links course. So I'd like to see him do well. But yeah, no, I think the cut is going to be the cut for me, especially because I think Rory has made it. Apparently, Rory has made the weekend.
Yeah, Rory has made it. Okay, here we go. Famous golfers that haven't made the cut. Bryson DeChambeau's not made the cut. Ludwig's not made the cut. Justin Thomas hasn't made the cut. No, Joaquin Neiman's not made the cut. Wyndham Clark's not made the cut. Patrick Cantlay, Tommy Fleetwood, Dustin Johnson, Cameron Smith, Shane Lowry, Phil Mickelson, Seb Straka, Justin Rose. God, these are household names not there this weekend.
Yeah, man. I think so. I think the cut's 7 over then, mate.
Yeah,
I think it's 7 over because that's all people use to describe as 8 over and above. So let's go through people who have made the cut, and you know. At 7 over, you're out of the running, right? Because the thing about this is, well, actually, having said that, let's think about the weather, right? So it's rained, it's going to be so much damper. Maybe someone is going to go out and do a serious thing on a Saturday and shoot the lights out 64 thing. But I just can't see that happening. I can't see anyone who's more than 3 or 4 over par, unless the field drops, unless those leaders drop into that realm. I can't see anyone punching upwards. Can you?
No, absolutely not. No. The question is JJ Spawn still bogey free? That's the question that I want answering. Has he got a bogey now, do we think?
Yeah.
Someone had an amazing bet on that that would return a mad amount of money if someone went bogey free for the whole tournament.
No, that ain't going to happen, guys. I think he bogeyed the first potentially. But look, what we should do, let's have some products. Are you up for some products, Tom? Do you want to have a little nip over and look at some products, maybe?
Oh, goodness me, would I love some products? Of course, Price.
Go products, then we'll come back and we'll do some positive stuff. Let's look at who might win this thing. Come on, let's do that.
Right, welcome back to the analysis of the second day of the US Open.
Is it analysis or is it us just Googling where the cut is?
Oh, there's a lot of there's a lot of Googling going on. I absolutely can't deny there's a lot of Googling going on. But, if you wanted a professional rundown of what's happening at the major, you wouldn't come to us. You come to us for Googling, I suppose. So who do we think could win it? Who's there or thereabouts?
Well, let's go through it, shall we? So at the moment, the leader is Sam Burns, who shot an unbelievable 65.
Yeah, which is wild, isn't it? 5 under round 2.
65. He shot 2 over on day 1. He shoots 5 under on this. And the context of that, I mean, the XG, the strokes gained compared to the field must be insane to be doing that. Like, everyone else is shooting on. I wonder what the average score was for the second round. I don't know because we're not professional pundits, but it would definitely be over par.
Just to sort of prove the non-professional punditry moment, I just want to double down on what feels like quite a hectic episode. Can I just say what I'm going to do?
Go on.
I just need to go plug in my laptop.
Oh my God, this is episode. You do not get this from Doherty. You don't get Dame Laura saying, "Has anyone got a battery pack for my iPhone so I can tell you what the average score was for the second round?" It's just unbelievable. This is what you're paying for, guys. This is what happens if you come for free content. It's going to be absolute car boot sale.
Pay for this, Sky charges you.
So look, if we I want to dig into who's going to win it, right? Because at the moment, so Sam Burns with that unreal 65. Sam Burns is definitely going to be in the mix, obviously, but again,
I'm so glad we were hammering Victor Hovland on net message last night. Obviously, we got the ping group, so we were really giving Victor the big up, and it's worked for him. He's doing well. He's currently standing at 3rd.
It's Victor on the ping WhatsApp group. He loves a GIF, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Do you remember when he accidentally put that photo in there and quickly deleted it? Who was that supposed to be for? It was quite sexy.
Can I just say, well, I want to come back to Victor, but I want to give you an example of what happens at this thing. 69 for John Rahm on day one under par, incredible round. Everyone, including us, obviously goes, oh, hello, John Rahm. Rahmy's back in town. Ramo. Day 2, 75. Right?
Yeah.
That is the problem. So you can look at a Sam Burns and you can look at anyone who's up there. Look at Spawn, Victor, Adam Scott. Look at those guys and go, incredible. But there's always a 75 or a 76. Unless now with the softer conditions, those conditions have changed. Maybe they've weathered the storm. Excellent analogy, because they've had a storm.
Well done.
And now it's softened up. Very good. I don't know, man. But I'd love to see Victor get close. But he's gonna. Yeah, the thing about
Tyrrell
Victor
Hatton as well. Tyrrell Hatton's an interesting one because he played. He's tied 12th. He had an okay day yesterday. He's 3 over, which does not rule him out of this at all. I think you're right. I think today is going to be really interesting because if it softens up a little bit and the greens can take a ball a bit more and it slows those greens down, you might see some half-decent scoring. And then we could be onto something quite interesting because there's loads of golfers then who that brings in because it's so tight. There's like 6 shots in it for the top. Between the top and tied 12th, there's 6 shots in it. Yeah.
And I think the reason why you look at Adam Scott, he's shot 270s. He's just shot par twice. And he's third. Isn't that amazing? He shot par twice and he's third. There's no other tournament in the world where that would happen, right? And I wonder if that's gonna, with the changing conditions, that might no longer be enough to go out there and shoot par. Now it'll be a case of, right, you got to go, if you want to win this thing, you got to go out and shoot especially on a Saturday on a moving day. You got to go and shoot 65 or 66. So then you got to look at,
is there something to be said of, hold on, he shot those scores on the hardest days. He kept his nerve.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
The 2 hardest days of the tournament. If he can now find another gear, which he definitely has got it in the locker to do, maybe someone who's gone out there and been quite consistent so far, consistently good, is someone to look at.
Is going to explode. Well, I don't know. The thing is, I tell you what's really hard about this, to do our crap analysis, is it's like their real true form is under a cloak of the misery and bad luck of those conditions. Do you know what I mean? Bryson might say, I'm playing really well, but I hit those, I dropped 6 or 7 shots through flubs in the rough that were, half an inch off the fairway. So it's very hard to see through the fog of how punishing the course is and find out who is actually on good form. The people who are there now in the mix right at the top, it isn't about form, I would maybe suggest. It's more about they played safe and maybe they just got lucky and they got those shots by the green and they managed to chip out because the line in the rough was okay. So I think it's different with this tournament.
I want to bring this back into maybe more our wheelhouse and do the sort of thing here that you guys come to us for, that you're not going to get from Dame Laura Davis on Sky. How are we all watching it? Because I found myself watching it on the phone while Em watched Love Island last night, which didn't feel like the best way of consuming this great sport.
No, I'm not doing that. No, I am watching it. Sorry, for some reason my brain has leapt to some sort of
here we go
cheap, tawdry, and extremely rude joke about you watching this golf with this rough compared to the pubeless bodies of Love Island and being able to say, look, that's what real rough looks like. That's what it looks like when you let things grow. I don't know why my brain's done that.
There's
I
something
apologise.
there, isn't there?
I know, and I'm sorry.
That for 5 minutes, and there's a real
there's almost a joke there.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Okay,
but
we'll come back to that by Sunday,
night,
I think.
I'm sorry I said that. Last night I ended up watching it with this on the sofa on the L shape. I get the L position for the legs, obviously, and I've got my in-laws down at the moment for Father's Day, and so I had my wife next to me, and then I had my in-laws, and guess what? We all 4 of us watched it. My kids were outside playing in the street. And we watched the Open, the US Open, sitting on the sofa, and I was chatting to them about stuff that was going on. It was quite, maybe they've been polite, but I think it was quite interesting for them because it's so mad.
Yeah, okay, well, that's absolutely huge. How you've managed to pull that coup off with your wife on a Friday night is absolutely unbelievable.
Middle-aged, mate, middle-aged.
Guys, the idea of coming home on a Friday night, by the way, after I play golf Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and going, yeah, I know you've not seen me, but should we watch the US Open? What do you mean? No.
Did you watch a bit of Love Island as well, or were you totally?
Oh yeah, I had Love Island. I have to go and sit on the armchair underneath the telly, so I've actually Love Island blaring in my ears.
Oh my god!
And I'm having to watch it on my phone. I'm just fascinated by people's setups of how they're doing this and how they managed to convince their other halves to go through this, because there's stuff that Em will watch. Em will watch the Masters. Because
interesting.
She knows it's a big deal. The idea of watching, she's so far out of this. It's just not
the golf
happen.
Events that punch through. But also, don't forget, until the Ryder Cup now in September, this is the last big American Friday night watching golf on the telly event, really, because it comes over to Europe now, and the tour swings around. And we've got things like the Genesis Open at the Renaissance, and obviously the Open. It comes over to the UK and Europe, and suddenly, you know what I mean? There aren't those Friday nights staying up and asking to have the telly.
Yeah, true. Fine. Okay, Tom, should we start putting some predictions as who's going to move then? Who are we having to be in a great position by the time Sunday rolls around? I think it's got to be some household names, if I'm honest. So like
Johnny
Victor
Vegas.
Hovland.
Johnny Vegas.
Johnny Vegas is still there.
Him.
How the hell Johnny Vegas is still there? I'll never know. He's like tied 20th. Is he 23 or something? 24?
I think it's because he's good at golf. He's 4 over. I think you cannot look any more than 4 over. I'd love Jordan Spieth to get in the mix, but I don't think you can look more than 4 over at the moment.
Johnny Vegas didn't drop a shot yesterday, did he? I don't think.
Yeah, 70. Yeah, shot par.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable from Johnny Vegas, the 40-year-old. What a lad. Right, yeah, so I like Victor Hovland to do it. I also like the idea of if he could just hold his cool, because he lost it a few times on Thursday when I was watching. Tyrrell Hatton could do something. Could Rory go on a charge? It feels unlikely, but he, when he was under the cosh yesterday, he pulled it out. Like it didn't feel that he was going to be there for the weekend, and then birdied 2 of the last 4, I think, and went on to do it.
Who out there could shoot a crazy score today? Rory obviously can. I tell you what was mad yesterday. Did you see Scotty after the round? Scotty Scheffler goes to the practice range with his coach and his caddy, and he's hitting balls for hours. And the coverage was brilliant on Sky Sports. They kept just going over to the range and saying he's still there. The best player in the world, one of us. He's still there, getting cross. Very, obviously he wasn't mic'd up, but you could see he was really animated and angry about what was going on with his round. And you just think, and they were saying this in commentary, like, Scotty, everyone's suffering out there, man. This is not a you thing. This is not your game not being good enough. If you're, they made a really interesting point. If you're swinging bad, if you feel you're swinging bad, going onto the range, you are just embedding. You're putting the bad things in the groove. Go home, see Meredith. Go and see your kid. Go do something else. Watch the new series of Hacks on Now TV, and then come back tomorrow and start again. Give yourself a break, man. It was really interesting. He's obsessed.
He slammed a wedge into the floor on a approach shot I would have paid him good money for. It was an absolutely fine wedge. He was on the green, slammed the wedge into the ground, absolutely furious. I was like, mate, but there's an interesting point made, which is he's not used to being the first to put on greens as well. He never is. He's always the last to put. So he's getting used to this thing of like having to be the first to put because he's not as close to the pin as everyone else. It's really fascinating.
He's one step off. Sorry, he's one step off standing on the green counting his score.
Yeah, well, another double. Especially for someone like him, he won't be used to playing this sort of golf. Can you imagine you're normally shooting 7-8 unders every single round, and now you're out here scrabbling for par, and you're having to go bogey saves. Just like that as a mentality thing must be really weird to know when you're normally putting for birdies and trying to do that sort of thing, and now you're scrabbling to save par. That's such a head flip.
I think that's a really, really interesting point because I think that counts for Scotty, but for all of the guys, your Shanes, your Rorys, like you say, these guys are used to being the 7 under guys. And now this is why you maybe see what we would call slightly dismissively journeymen coming through. You know what I mean? This is why. Because those guys are going, yeah, this is what golf is like for us. Now you know what golf is like for us all the time. We're used to shooting 2-3 over par. This is what we do. This is psychologically familiar territory to be a struggle. For you guys, for those top 10 players, all right, you are simply not used to feeling this. So maybe there's something in that.
It must be a weird setup as well, knowing that, and I know this is broad strokes and not every golfer is like this, but more often than not, I think they are on the PGA Tour these days. Hit it as hard, as far as you can, get it down there, and you'll muscle something out when you get down there because these players are so good out the rough now. That is pretty much, I would say, the strategy of the PGA Tour. Not so much, not as far as Bryson went, but that seems to be what players want to do. Imagine now standing on a par 5 with a 3-wood in your hand, knowing that if you spray this, it's a whole blow up because you're going to be in the rough and then you can't get out the rough. That's they're not, as you say, Tom, they're not used to that.
No, and it's so. This is the thing. It's the clever, experienced players who are going to come through, which is why I would look at Adam Scott. I would look hard at Adam Scott. He is class, that guy. And as long as he doesn't wobble when he goes, oh my God, I'm nearly going to win the US Open, he's one to look at.
It's professional stuff today, guys. It really is a good one. Well, Tom, I need to go and get ready to play golf with you this afternoon.
Yeah, we're very excited. We're going to be playing Centurion. Make sure you follow us on my EG, Tom Price at Muswell Hill Golf Club, Tom Green at Porters Park Golf Club. You can find us there, and you can see our scores because we're going to card it, which I think is a disaster.
I'm trying to card everything I do on the golf course now.
Yeah, it's good.
And maybe that is why I'm playing so goddamn awful, because I literally have a card in my hand pretty much every single time. But I really like the Strava thing, where on Strava you go and do a run and you log it, and then you have a nice little catalogue of all these places that you've ran in. And this is the time I was working at the Isle of Wight Festival, and I ran around the Isle of Wight Festival. This is the time I was on my honeymoon, and I ran around Nairobi, right? I think it's cool to be able to look back on my IG and go, that's when I played Centurion. That's when I played Wentworth.
Yeah. We're going to be doing it. So that's the caveat to the fact that we shoot 90s out there today, which is fine because, George Dwangmany is 35 over par, so we're going to be more like George.
With a thinking man's Dwangmany.
There you go.
Anyway, we'll see you early on Sunday morning for analysis of the Saturday, and then early on Monday morning as we crown the winner of the US Open.
Yeah, don't forget the coverage starts at 4 o'clock today on Sky Sports in the UK. Today really will be a really, really good watch. It's going to be a fascinating day. It's a moving day. Something will happen. I guarantee you it's going to be interesting.
See you next time.